Buenas tardes. This is Ofelia. I'm here with Maribel Rubio. I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about herself, and then I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
So, who are you, Maribel?
I am just a girl. I'm
Much more than that.
much more than that.
Yes.
I am from Ciudad Juarez. I grew up in Ciudad Juarez, moved to El Paso very young, so bicultural. I saw firsthand the privilege of biculturalism and at the same time the nuance behind it that a lot of people don't talk about it. That people don't talk about. You know, the border land, the dehumanization of people, the colors in our face, La Migra, camper vans and helicopters and everything. And it to me it seemed pretty normal. Nothing really out of the ordinary. It was an everyday thing. And I moved away from there, and I realized that it's actually a real big thing that ruins people's lives. And my father was undocumented, and he got caught by La Migra a few times. At that time, it wasn't really the way that it is now. They would catch you, put you in the camper van, take you back across the border, and that was it. You just keep crossing to go to work. That's it. You know, like I didn't really start working a lot with like immigration advocacy and human rights advocacy until maybe 10 years ago. And it's the awareness of it is like it changes your life. And now that I've had a little bit more time to create and to write and do art, those have been some of the main focus of my pieces.
Okay. And we are here interviewing Maribel as a part of Artitude's programming because we are really excited to announce that she is the first artist in a quarterly series of art shows that Artitude will be curating that focuses on women and trans artists. And Maribel is our first artist that we highlight. So I have a few questions, and then I will give you information on her show as well, which will be at Gallery 86 this Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. So the show is called AquiNoExisteElOlvido. That's such a powerful title. What does that mean to you personally, and how does it live inside the work that we're showing with this exhibit?
Well, Aquí No Existe El Olvido for this show, I felt it was very important because coming from Mexico, we know how difficult it is with the state disappearing people, the femicides that have been going on for decades. A lot of these women have never been found, or they have found mass graves. Some of the bodies have been in decomposition for such a long time that there's very little DNA evidence in the bodies, and so it's a lot. It's very difficult to figure out who these women were and what mothers and family are still looking for their daughters. I was living in Ciudad Juarez when all this started happening, and you can't forget someone who has been disappeared. Maybe the rest of the world does, maybe the government does, but the family doesn't. And so it seems like every year, every decade, every century, there's more things that happen to people, human beings, and we don't forget. We still have mothers looking for their daughters 10, 15 years later, 20 years later. And I just realized this past week that there is a group of buscadoras in the border town in El Paso, Santa Teresa in New Mexico, in the desert, in the Sonoran Desert, and they have been finding bodies, mostly of women. And so they're not sponsored by the state, they're not sponsored by the government. So these are women who volunteer themselves. And so in everything that has to do with human rights, we can't forget the atrocities that have happened, how our people have been dehumanized, talked to us if we are garbage or criminals or just inherently bad. So I try to portray our people as humanely as possible, with as much dignity as possible. And that's it. No he olvido. And sometimes tampoco perdón. So that's what we all call that sacred rage of not forgetting and keep fighting, having that coraje to keep going forward.
I love that. And there's the title alone is such a powerful title, and the artwork is absolutely amazing. And I'm always amazed by your range because hay poquito de todo, like de todo. And I can't wait for people to actually come and see your work. My favorite piece, which you already know which one it is of the corazón inside of the coffin. And can you tell us about that, how that came to you and the significance of that?
Yes. So in this piece, I kept thinking about the prison industrial complex, the school to prison pipeline, and how a lot of us in marginalized communities have been pushed aside to a space where we have no out, no opportunity, and we are put in cages, like literally and metaphorically. And so these cages for me represent death. And so I repurposed some cigar boxes and I made them into a coffin. And the coffin on the outside looks kind of like the prison industrial complex, which you would think very, very industrial, very like metal, rusted metal, as a coffin. And on the inside of the coffin, I have some stories, some cutout stories from newspapers of atrocities that have been committed against the people of color, immigrants, Black brothers and sisters who have been gunned down by the police, and ICE brutality, and people who have been incarcerated for 15, 20 years. And now we know that they were innocent and returning to society, but with a life robbed and changed forever. So inside of the coffin, I have a heart that I sculpted, and it's el corazón del pueblo, that no matter how we're treated, no matter how many times we're caged, our heart doesn't stop. Our heart blooms. It blooms, with our deep roots. It comes out triumphant, and as long as there's beat in that heart, our people are going to keep going forward, no matter how many obstacles are put in place for us to not succeed. But imagine all the things that we could do if there were no cages, if we were just allowed to flourish with just being ourselves.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to see that. That's absolutely my favorite piece. I think another thing that really stands out is all of the intimate portraits of mujeres at different stages of life, mujeres in the form of kind of iconic figures, and then mujeres that are just important to us, like our abuelas and niñas and things like that. Can you speak a little bit to that and why la mujer is such a, and I mean, you've kind of talked about that a little bit, but why, por qué las mujeres? ¿Por qué?
Well, I'm very anti-patriarchal. If you know me, you know I'm very anti-patriarchal. I'm very anti-system. I'm very anti-capitalistic. I'm anti everything that you can think of. And I feel like rematriation should be the goal.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just coming from like a staunch feminist, angry feminist. Yes, we're angry and we have every right to be angry. Because I mean, look at the world, you know, the men have been running the world for the millennia and to where we're at when our ancestors were in charge of their own destinies. It was very matriarchal. And the matriarchy is all about protecting the vulnerable. The matriarchy doesn't concern itself with positions of power or glamour or hierarchies. The matriarchy is about family. It's about protecting the old, the vulnerable, the weak, the children, and do everything in a very communal way, which translates to not only survival, but thriving communities. So for me, as an angry, staunch feminist, it's very important for me to portray women at the center of most of my pieces, if not all my pieces, because we're the ones that nurture, and we nurture from instinct. Men can do that as well, but the patriarchy has lied to them that we're inherently different when we're not. We're clean slates from birth, and every behavior is learned. And so the behavior of patriarchy and the patriarchal normativity of it is learned, and it's taught by the powers that be to keep everybody in check and in line. So for me, the future is female, as cliche as that sounds, you know, like that t-shirt you buy in an Etsy shop. It's the future is female. I really truly do believe that. And so that's what I focus my pieces on.
And I think that what comes across to me in most of your work, and Maribel is also an author and a poet, and I think what comes across for me is not the anger and not the anti, it's what you stand for, and the love and the pro and the gentleness and how you frame everything just so beautifully. And so it doesn't come off as angry, and not that there's anything wrong with anger, and we need rage and we need anger, but there's this level of softness and care and beauty, and I love it. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm a huge fan of Maribel's, all of her work. So there are a lot of symbols too, like I said, a lot of iconic symbols, Frida, La Virgen, and just kind of why those images and how does that kind of tie into all of this? So those iconic images of what it means to be like Chicana, Mexicana, all of that.
I read Frida when I just started college, and I was enthralled by her. I could not get enough of her, as most of us are. And I read absolutely everything that I could on Frida. I think Frida has been turned into, and I was a little bit hesitant about making a Frida piece because now Frida has been turned into a commercial brand. And if the people that know Frida, like her heart, her soul, her mind, would know that she probably would be trying in her grave at the commercialization of her image, because she was very, she's a communist. She was a communist, almost an anarchist. She was anti-government, anti-imperialism, anti-communism, and she was also a survivor of all kinds of abuses. So I feel like she has been a very integral part of me in my feminism. And she's just very important to me. And I wanted to make this piece of the Fridas mostly for her. I mean, I probably won't ever make another Frida piece. I think one is enough, especially, what I just talked about Frida. But the Virgen de Guadalupe, for me, I'm not religious. I'm actually a spiritual atheist, like a lot of our indigenous ancestors were. But culturally speaking, La Virgen de Guadalupe is a symbol of uh, of resistance in the Mexican and the Chicano community. And she's been my family is Catholic. I grew up Catholic, so I know what the Virgen de Guadalupe means to a lot of people. It means hope. She's a mother that protects every single cause. She protects the immigrants. She protects just basically everybody that needs some kind of protection from a higher power. I want to call it that. But yeah, she's extremely symbolic. I don't know. I keep thinking of Itati Cantoral singing La Guadalupana, and it's like she's so multifaceted.
Yeah.
You can write about anything, you can sing about anything, and include La Virgen, and it fits.
Yeah, and I think, you include other images that are very kind of iconic for us. El maíz, las flores, los nopales, las raíces, all of those things that really kind of connect us to land and our stories and history and everything. Last question. What would you say to somebody who's never seen your work? How would you invite them? What do you invite them to experience, to think about when they come and see your pieces?
Yeah, I think that well, I've never really considered myself an artist. I just like to create things, and then I realized, well, that's what an artist does. But like I was self-taught. I didn't go to any art school or anything, and not that you need to, but the work that I do comes from the heart and it comes from the soul, and it might not have maybe the quality of people who have gotten, like professional training, but I think that my pieces are, I wouldn't say like polemic, but they reflect the times, they reflect the environment, they reflect the pains that we're going through. And at the same time, it also reflects the resistance and the resilience and a little bit of hope, which I think is a very important part, because I think that art should give us hope. And we don't want to see a piece of art that is going to break our heart and then give us no hope and then walk away, like depressed. It's the hope, and it's the community. It's the you see something, and when you thought you were lost, if you see something in a piece that gives you a little bit of hope, and I think I've already done, the job that it's supposed to do.
Awesome. Pues muchas gracias. The show starts on Saturday, March 21st. It'll be here at Gallery 86 in Pleasant Grove, which is an amazing space if you haven't been here. Show starts at 5. We'll be here from 5 to 7 with a little reception. Candelaria's Bakery is donating some sweet treats, and if you know Candelaria's, you don't want to miss out on those either. And Maribel will have some pieces for sale, merch, some of her books, prints, things for sale as well. And you said you will be donating some of.
Yeah, so everything that we'll have here will be for sale. From every sale, a part of the proceeds are going to be donated to organizations, nonprofit organizations that are working directly on the ground with people that have been affected by the immigration and ICE raids, and with any kind of need.
Yeah.
Without having to go through different channels, directly given to them so that it could be given to the families. Also, I have some poems that go along with some of the pieces. So I might read them.
Yes, let's do that. Let's plan on doing that. Let's plan on having a little reading while you're here.
And if anybody has any poetry that they might want to read themselves, I mean, they're more than welcome.
Okay. So it will be a full-on just community gathering, safe space, and an opportunity to feel joy and celebrate and support an amazing local artist and an amazing space in the community. And the show will be here for 1 week. And so Artitude is very excited about being able to work with you on this.
I'm thrilled to be the first artist.
The inaugural artist for this
new project that Artitude is doing. And I mean, Artitude is an amazing organization that has brought a lot of support for the community, for artists like myself, that I've never done really anything outside of my home. And but I think it's a very good work they're doing, and everybody should come and support.
So come hang out on Saturday. So gracias, and we'll see you all soon.
See you all later.
Bye.